Last year we hosted two of the final teams on the Apps for Good Awards, which was amazing in itself. They turned up before we turned up. They were that keen, and we allowed them to present their pitches to us, which was amazing. Seeing how confident they were with what they were saying, just seeing how kind of creative and inspiring the ideas were. And then we gave them feedback, so it was a bit like a kind of a typical sort of pitching scenario to practice for later on in the day. And the amazing thing is they kind of took that feedback on and they tweaked their talks. And I know from someone, from being someone who does kind of talks, does lecturing, teaching, etc., I get quite nervous and I have to kind of really prepare it. But they were willing to adapt and tweak what they were going to say later on in the evening, there and then. So that was amazing. And then they went up on stage, did an amazing job, ended up winning. They were so excited, they gave me sort of a quick thank you, but they were off like celebrating and what have you. I went home after the awards, and one of their teachers sent me an email around midnight that day, and he just said, thank you, what you did really helped. It really pushed them to the next level. And for me, that was kind of enough. It was like, okay, they won, and I'm not claiming any responsibility for them winning because it was what they did. But just the fact that maybe I could have had some input that kind of pushed them to the next level, which in the end they ended up winning, it was really great to receive. It was really fun seeing how excited they got to come and see our office, and we had these big kind of remote control inflatable fish floating around. We had some lunch. They got to meet some of the other businesses in our co-working space. If companies are thinking of hosting the teams next year, I would say there's several things. The students really are there to get your input. They're really keen to learn, which is amazing. So be prepared to share knowledge. Be prepared to not be overly critical because, this is just before they're going to go on stage and present. But give little bits of feedback, perhaps more tips around their presentation technique rather than the content. And also just give them some fun, some inspiration, because this is probably going to be the first ever time they've been into the office of a cool, creative London company. Some of them have come from like the furthest up in Scotland. Some of them have come from just down the road. But still, their experience is going to be completely unique, something they've experienced before. So make it feel even more special. Turn it into a bit of a competition. They kind of enjoy that. We ended up competing against some of the other hothouse offices around London, ended up winning. And that was another thing they ended up loving. They were getting involved on Twitter, social media, sharing their experiences. And I do think it becomes a day that they remember, definitely.